Hello, and welcome to episode 9 of the Mindful Knitter podcast. My name is Claire, and I am your host today. If you are new, welcome. This is a podcast and a channel primarily about knitting, but I do get into other fiber-related things like crochet, weaving, other crafty stuff such as embroidery or painting, and the arts like dance or music. So we have a tiny sprinkling of those things here and there, but primarily we talk about knitting. And if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. I am so happy to have you guys here with me today. I'm coming to you from the southeast of the United States, and I live here with my husband Alex, our two Great Danes, Murphy and Nolly, and our very antisocial hamster, Crema. It is December 19th, so almost Christmas time. Thus, my Santa sheep. I love this sweater. I got it from Talbots last year or the year before. Forever will be one of my very favorite Christmassy time sweaters. And it's fuzzy. This sheep is fuzzy. Oh. Anyway, okay, just distraction. A little bit about the format of our episode today. Oh, and I've almost got the intro nailed down. You'd think after 9 times I would, but I haven't. Again, if you are new, a little bit about the channel. There is a very it's definitely about knitting mostly, but we do have a strong mindfulness component as well. Typically in the form of practicing mindfulness within knitting and crafting, but also practicing mindfulness just in day-to-day life. I am a yoga teacher, and I also use mindfulness a lot in my day-to-day life. It's very important to me, so it's a huge part of my knitting as well. So I like to share those things with you guys. So our format for today, first where you can find me on social media. Again, you'd think I would know, but I just don't have it yet. Social media. So this is all linked in the description below as well, so don't feel the need to memorize this. But I am on Instagram as the.mindfulknitter. I post on there throughout the week. And so I'd love for you to connect with me on Instagram. And did I say Instagram or Twitter? I meant to say Instagram. I don't have a Twitter account. I can't remember what I said. I'm on Instagram as the.mindfulknitter. You can connect with me on there. I also am on Ravelry as Mindful Knitter Pod, and we have a Ravelry group. It's the Mindful Knitter podcast group. So feel free to add me as a friend or follow me on my social media. I would love to connect with you guys through YouTube or any of the other platforms as well. Now, actually, on to the format of the episode. So we're going to start out with finished objects, then talk about works in progress, then talk about some acquisitions, yarny things that I have acquired recently, and then get into a little bit of knit chat, just talking about either channel related things or knitting fiber related things. It varies week to week. And then after that, we'll have our mindfulness segment. Today we are doing a practice together. So if you want to pause your video for just a moment, if you don't already have yarn with you, you probably do if you're watching a knitting podcast, but I know sometimes we listen to these while we're doing dishes or things like that. So if you would like to do that practice with me later in the episode, then grab a skein or a ball of yarn, and that's all you need. So feel free to do that now if you'd like. And then we'll do some question and answer, and we'll say goodbye for now. So getting into finished objects for today. I have 2 finished objects for you guys. And also just to acknowledge that I didn't post a podcast last week. I am very aware of that. I wasn't aware of it though until like Tuesday or Wednesday, where it just suddenly occurred to me while I was doing Vlogmas, and it just completely escaped me. And so rather than trying to hustle and do a podcast in the middle of the week, I was like, I'll just wait and do one today, because it would have been more like a mini podcast anyway. So sorry about missing a week. That will probably happen here and there, I'm guessing, since this is not a professional YouTube channel. It's gonna, be a little bit interrupted every once in a while, but I anticipate we'll stay pretty consistent. We usually have stayed pretty consistent. But yes, it was hard to find an uninterrupted, like, hour and a half, 2 hours for me to do podcast stuff, because between gathering all my stuff, getting everything together, getting the space set up, filming it, breaking it all back down, it's a whole big ordeal. So my first finished object for you guys today is a pair of socks for my brother. I'm doing exclusively gift knitting right now. So that is mostly what I have for you today. Although I finished a pair of socks for me like a week or two ago. I can't remember when exactly, but these are socks for my baby brother. They are just vanilla socks on 1.5 DPNs, US 1.5s. And these were knit using Picks Stroll in the Train Station colorway. And you can see it's this really fun tonal gray kind of yarn, and this yarn knits up great. It is soft, and it is supposed to do great in the washing machine, which is good because he wanted soft socks that he could also machine wash without having to worry about it. So Picks Stroll is 100% superwash. No, I think it's 75% superwash merino, 15% or 25% nylon. I would have to double check on that, but I'm pretty sure it is. So yeah, they supposedly wash up great in the washing machine. So these are for him. His feet are huge. Yeah, these knit up great. I did the 2x2 rib for the cuff. Heel flap and gusset. I don't really know what else there's to say about these. These are vanilla boy socks. My second pair of socks, for me at least, is a little bit more exciting. These were for me. These are my Christmas socks this year, and I haven't gotten to wear them yet because I didn't want to show you guys dirty socks. I didn't want to wear them and then, show you guys dirty socks on the podcast. I wanted to show you perfect socks. So, and none of these have been blocked. But yeah, so these are my Christmas socks this year. They are super fun. And this is all yarn from Nanette Wake Studio. She has an Etsy shop. If you are a returning viewer, you are very familiar with her name at this point because I talk about her basically every single time. She's my favorite sock yarn person at the moment. These are incredibly soft, as all of her sock yarn is. It is 85% superwash merino, 15% nylon. And it is a very kind of, I wouldn't say it's a plush sock. It's just, I don't know, it's just very, very soft. I don't know what the magic is, but yeah, it's got this fun variegation of the pink and then the red and white striping, and all the different parts of the sock are different with the pooling. I just think they're so, so fun. Yeah, you can see I did the little green all the way around my heels on these. So I did, I cast on with the green, and then I did 2 rows of green on the heel, or on the cuff. And again, I did the 2x2 rib. And then I just did her yarn here, which I don't know the colorway. because it was a one of a kind. The red and the body, the pink, red, and white are cream and white. Anyway, they were from her one of a kind, a one of a kind sale she had, so it doesn't really have a colorway name. So yeah, I did the little pop of green up here, finished the cuff, did the main body of the color, did some green for the first like 3 rows, I guess, of the heel flap, and then I did the red for the rest of it, and then I did this little contrast heel turn in the green, and then I made sure that I carried the green around when I was picking up the stitches for the heel, and then I switched back to this yard and I did that all the way. Then I switched back to green, and then for 2 rows or 2 rounds, and then I did the red for the toes. So these were a little involved as far as switching back and forth between colors, but I think it was worth it. I love these socks. They look very kind of vintage Christmas to me, and I just think they're really lovely. I'm very, very, very pleased with them. They make me super happy. So these are my Christmas socks this year. I can't express my joy. And they're so soft, and so I've got to get some pictures of these, I think, on the tree, and I'm going to post these up on Instagram. Should probably put them on Ravelry too, but I'm kind of the worst at remembering to put my projects on Ravelry. I've done a lot of projects this year, and I think I've only posted like 3 on Ravelry, so I'm not very good at that, but I'm trying to remember. So, and before anyone asks, this is one of my Christmas mugs, one of my very favorite Christmas mugs. This is an old Starbucks mug that actually came in like a little like hot chocolate like gift package from Starbucks several years ago. I've probably had this for 5 or 6 years, so I do not think you can get this mug anymore, but I love this little penguin. He's full of joy and warmth. And I'm drinking an excellent latte that I did video to include on my vlog for today's Vlogmas episode. We'll see if that's interesting or not. I don't know. If nobody's ever seen espresso made, then they might find that kind of interesting. Although I didn't do it in great detail, so maybe if anyone's ever interested in that in the future, I can do a more involved, this is how you do espresso video. I don't know. This is a knitting channel. Maybe nobody cares about that stuff. But it's real delicious. I did like a honey latte, so I put some honey in there too. It's excellent. So those are my finished objects for today. On to works in progress. So I have a couple works in progress to share with you guys. Sorry for the rustling. My first one is almost done. I kind of want to get these done tonight if I can. I've got some emails I need to do later today, but it shouldn't take too long, so I should be okay. So this is a pair of socks for Alex, my husband. Yeah, so I've got socks done for my little brother and his wife. Her socks, I think, were on the last episode. I did my socks, but those aren't gift knitting. And then I'm gonna do Alex's socks. I'll finish his today probably. And then I'll cast on my other sister-in-law's pair of socks probably this weekend, because I'm not gonna see her until after Christmas. So I have a little extra time to do hers. I need to get my niece's presents done first, because I am seeing her this week. More than likely. There's more information about the why that's up in the air on my Vlogmas episodes. I think Vlogmas number 9. I think Vlogmas number 9 is where I talk about I may or may not get to see her. Anyway, if you care about that kind of thing. So these are for Alex. So here is one sock that is finished. And here is its friend. So what I did, as you can probably tell, is that I am using I used the rest of, well, not the rest of, I still have some left. Well, we'll see how much I've got left when I finish his socks. But I am making a pair of coordinating socks for him using the Picks Stroll in the train station, and then the red tonal from Nanette Wake Studio. And I think these are really fun. I have no idea if he'll like them or not, which I should probably ask before like putting all of this effort into them. But he does really like the hand knit socks I've been making him. So I think that he will like them just because they're cozy. Yeah, so these are really fun. As you can tell, I am very close to being done with sock number 2. So I'll get this guy done hopefully this evening. I think I probably will. I won't give you guys a close-up of them at the moment because you'll get a close-up of them when I show them to you on the next podcast as a finished object. But these are ones that I'm currently working on, almost done. They're in this awesome project bag that you guys have probably seen before if you're a returning viewer. This is from Chestnut Fibres on Etsy, and I love my Christmas cat project bag. So cute with its little drawstring. So cute. Next work in progress. I feel like we are moving right along. Usually I'm so chatty, but I'm so focused today. I've had some coffee. I slept for, no joke, 11 hours last night. I think I mentioned that in my footage this morning for the vlog. I woke up and I got a shower, and when I got out, I just had so much energy. And I had to like make myself sit down and eat breakfast. And anyway, this one is in my Nanette Wake Studio project bag. This is the Nutcracker. Very, very cute. She had this as a package this year with yarn that went with it and stitch markers. This is one of the stitch markers. It's a little Nutcracker. I don't know if it'll focus. It's really small. I think I had a couple other things in here. Yeah, so really fun package. I got it as a birthday present for my mom. Fun dotted red lining. So this is my cowl for my niece, and if you have been watching, you will see that this does not look like a ton more has been done on it. But I have gotten some done. I've gotten like this much done today because I put in the stitch marker today so that I'd be able to kind of keep track and not feel like I was not making any progress. Oh, this is the other stitch marker from, or Progress Keeper, which could also maybe be a stitch marker, honestly. Yeah, this is the other one that came with this little package. So it's not really a kit because, I mean, would it be a kit? I don't know if it's a kit because it doesn't have like a project in mind when you're making, and when I think of kits, I think of like, this is the project you're making and all of the materials. Like, it doesn't have a project in mind, it just has a bunch of materials. I don't know, semantics. So this is the cowl I am making for my niece. There are a bajillion ends to weave in. I'm not really looking forward to that, but it is what it is. And I will probably put on a Christmas movie and weave in some ends. And I will just enjoy the time thinking about my niece enjoying her cowl. So yeah, this is something I'm just kind of making up as I go. I have these little like pseudo baubles that I'm doing as I go. I'm just pulling the color from the not adjoining, but the, you know, whatever color is next to that block. I'm just kind of pulling it in. I'm about to start, I'll probably do a few more rounds. Yeah, I'll do a few more rounds of this middle color before I transition to this really pale pink. But yeah, this is her cowl, and I think since I probably should have ripped it out and just started over, but I was already several rounds in and it didn't really occur to me until it was too late. This is obviously rolling up a lot because it's just a tube of stockinette. So, if you guys have any good ideas, please feel free to let me know what your good ideas are. But I am thinking about doing, like, going back and adding some sort of border down here. I don't know yet, like, what kind of border it would be. I don't know if maybe I'll use like this fun pink yarn here so that I'll have like a really vibrant kind of border. It's this one, to like have like a really fun vibrant border. I might do that. As I'm looking at that, that's really cute, I think. She's 3, so that's why this is so incredibly pink. Yeah, I asked her, what color do you want Aunt Claire to knit your Christmas present in? And she said pink. Very vehemently, she said pink. So we've got 4 different colors of pink because I love her and I want her to be happy. Anyway, this one is like neon. If it looks like highlighter pink, it's because it is. This is another Nanette Wake Studio one-of-a-kind hand-dyed, I guess at this point, ball of yarn. And it is definitely highlighter pink with little highlighter orange and yellow speckles in it. So this is really fun. I might end up knitting my baby niece a pair of socks using that yarn too. She's 1.5, and my brother requested little baby socks for her. So I might be knitting her some little socks out of this. Not for Christmas because I do not have time at this point, but maybe for her Easter present. Can't remember the border. So yeah, if you guys have any suggestions for this, I'm gonna be finishing this in the next few days. But I could, it'll be like an afterthought kind of border. So like I can always do it like just this week. I need to be able to get this on here. Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna crochet something, if I'm gonna try to pick it up stitches, which seems like a lot. I'll probably end up crocheting just for expediency. And then I'll just do the same kind of crochet at the top as well. But if you guys have good ideas for that, please let me know. I'm also gonna block this, so that'll help a little bit, but I am a little irritated that I didn't do that. When I get to the other end, I am gonna do, I'm gonna purl, because this is in the round, so I'm gonna purl and probably alternate just like 2 or 3, maybe 4 rounds at the top, just to get some garter stitch at the top so that it doesn't do this curling stuff at the other end. Oh well, she is 3. I don't think she'll care at all, but it does bother me. So yeah, and I think she'll be able to use this for several years because I've made it fairly like wide. Like technically I could wear this as a pretty like snug cowl, but as a she'll be able to wear this all through her toddler years, probably a little bit through elementary school as well. So yeah, anyway, so this is what I'm doing for my little niece, and I am also going to be making her a pair of mittens that are in these same yarns. So these are all 4 yarns together. I think these are really cute. I have my one of a kind from Nanette Wake Studio. These are both Simplicity yarns, and this one is, I think, Lang Cashmerino. And this one's the 85% superwash merino, 15% nylon, but the other ones are all cashmere, superwash merino, and nylon blends. Like this is the Simplicity yarn. I don't have the other label, I think. Yeah, I don't think I have the other label. So I can't really show you, but it's, I don't know if you can see that, Simplicity yarn. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, it's 55, oh, I'm so sorry. So this one, the Simplicity, the two Simplicity ones are just superwash merino, acrylic, and nylon. And the cashmere, the Lang yarn is the cashmerino one. So yes, finishing this up. I'd kind of like to have this finished by tomorrow. Tomorrow's Monday. Yeah, I kind of want to get this finished by tomorrow night. Tuesday at the latest, so that I can block it on Tuesday and have it laying out to dry so that it's ready. I'll probably see her Thursday for Christmas Eve. So I need to have this done by then so that I can block it and it be dry, and then I can work on her mittens. And I honestly anticipate her mittens aren't going to take super long. She has 3, so she has tiny hands. And when I made Alex's fishing gloves, like a month or 2 ago, I mean, I did one of his gloves in one day. Yeah, so it took me 1 day per glove. And that's gloves, not mittens. So I'm making the little fingers and things. So his hands are bigger. I'm making fingers. So I don't think her mittens are going to take me that long. But we'll see. Because I've never made mittens before. So this could be a brand new adventure. Yeah, so those are my works in progress. Again, if you've been watching for a while, you know I'm a fairly monogamous knitter. I don't have any more than 3 projects at any time because it drives me nuts. I can't have unfinished things laying around. It drives me truly, truly nuts. I have so many things going on in my brain all of the time, from being in grad school and working full-time and like dancing part-time and doing YouTube things now and knitting and taking care of lots of different things, people, things, dogs, whatever. Like, I just have too much going on in my brain. I need my hobby to be as uncomplicated as possible, which is why at the moment I'm doing a lot of stockinette stitch. So yes, so I just have those 2, and that's it. I have literally nothing else on my needles whatsoever. I have no blankets, nothing. That will change after Christmas. I will still not have any more than 3 projects on my needles. I say that, there have been a couple times in my life where I did have kind of longer, like big projects that I was just taking my time. Like my autumnal shawl was kind of a huge undertaking for me, at least. Other people might have been able to whip that puppy out in just a few weeks, but for me it took months. So I had it on my needles for months, and I would kind of come and go with it. And I didn't really count it as my like active whips. I counted it as like just a long project. Like some people do that with memory blankets and stuff like that. So things like that I don't really count, but I can't have multiple big projects either. That was the only big project I had going in the background. So I don't know if that makes sense, but that's kind of what's up with that. So yeah, those are my whips. So next is acquisitions. And along with that, upcoming projects. So upcoming project, these will be my socks for my other sister-in-law. She loves blue and is never going to hand wash her socks. So she gets Patton Kroy, or Patton's Kroy. These are the Patton's Kroy socks in the turquoise jacquard colorway. And I just think that these are really fun. I love the self-patterning socks. It's so much fun to work with. I just can't quit you, Patton's Kroy. Yeah, so I like the self-patterning thing. Everybody's always so impressed, and I do burst the bubble. Like, I can't take credit for something that it was not me. So the first time I did one of these like self-jacquarding kind of thing yarns, my dad was so impressed, and he was like, you should sell these, and like he's like, you could be famous. And I was like, Dad, the yarn does this. Like, I am literally just, and I had to explain it to him because it doesn't knit. And so by the end of it, he was like, his bubble had burst, and he was like, oh, okay, so you're not very, very impressive. And I was like, no, I'm really not, but just a little sad, I suppose, but it's really cool yarn. So then, you know, maybe you aren't impressed with me, but please be impressed with the makers of this kind of yarn, because that is very thoughtful and cool that somebody invented this kind of stuff for us. So yeah, so I've got these two puppies to knit up her pair of socks. Her socks are about the same size as mine. I do have the smallest feet and ankles in the family, so I do wear the smallest socks, but hers are the second smallest, so these will go pretty quick. If I'm like working at it, I can do a pair of socks for me in 2 days. If I'm like really working at it, that does not happen often at all. Like, I think it's really only happened once or twice, because I don't have time to really like work on socks like all day long. I'm not a fast knitter at all. So somebody like Mia from the Knitting Expat, you know, she just pops out a pair a day willy-nilly. That ain't me. I am a slow knitter. So these will be for her. I'll start these probably after Christmas. I might be working on these on Christmas Day. I just had an idea of having a Christmas Day cast on. Is there something I want to... Ooh, I'm going to have to think about this now, because I've got some really cool... What a cute idea. Okay, so this is my Advent yarn. I'm just spazzing out on, you know, the internet, whatever. So this is my Advent calendar yarn, and how cute would it be to cast on a project with these on Christmas Day? Other people probably do this. I don't think that I have just invented something just now, but I think it's a really fun idea. I hadn't really thought about that. Ooh, but I have another thing I might cast on instead. Oh, I don't know. We'll have to think about that. But this is a good segue. So this is my Advent yarn. So how much do I have left? If you, again, have been following along with me on Vlogmas, then you have seen me open these up every single day throughout Vlogmas, which is so much fun, and I'm so happy I get to share that with you guys every day. But here's what we have left. There's not a lot left. Christmas is coming. For some of you guys, this doesn't matter at all because you've already celebrated Hanukkah, or like, you know, people who don't celebrate Christmas, this probably doesn't matter to you tons. But for me, it is significant. Although it's really not like a panic. And I don't stress out or panic during Advent because like the gifts really are very secondary. They're secondary for a lot of people. They're very secondary for me. I would say I'm a pretty spiritual person. So things like Advent for me are very spiritually significant times of the year. So I'm doing a lot of reflection, a lot of like prayer and meditation and all kinds of things. And like Christmas Day is full of a lot of very meaningful traditions. Family is very important to me on holidays, but holidays for me are also holy days. So like, I don't really panic because it isn't about any of that stuff for me. Those things like doing these very thoughtful gifts and traditions and stuff, even though they're good and they're meaningful, for me, they're secondary. So I don't have to panic about them because they are not like the focus of this time of year for me. But it is a tangible reminder of how long I have to get that cowl and those mittens done. And the socks, but the socks will be quick. Yeah. So, and then the other reason I don't have to panic is because this isn't even, if you don't care about this, you can fast forward for a minute or two. But for our holiday traditions, we really do celebrate basically the 12 days of Christmas. So I don't have to have all my gifts ready on like one day. There's a period of time. Like, we're going to start things on the 23rd, and then it's going to go to New Year's Day. Yeah, New Year's Day, maybe the day after-ish. So I have a whole like long period. So this is one of the reasons why I don't have to have all my presents done by Saturday. I just have to have, I have to have my niece's stuff done for the 24th, Alex's stuff done for the 25th, everybody else's stuff done for like the next weekend. So like I have a whole week more. So yeah, I'm not really panicked. And even if I didn't have very long, I wouldn't panic because there's no reason for me to panic. I could just, if I couldn't have that stuff finished, I would just get them something else and be like, hey, I'll get these to you in a week or two or something. I don't know. So, but anyway, these are what's left. That was a digression. And we're back with the yarn. Yes, and if you haven't seen the episode where I talk about this, or you haven't been following me on Vlogmas, this is the yarn. It's Emma's yarn. I got this from Dixie Knits in Pensacola, Florida. They are a great yarn shop. I love going there. They're really, really lovely. So let's see if I can show you guys what we're working with. Do you see this treasure trove of wonders? Oh my goodness. If the Skittles were made into skeins. Alrighty, so I'll just kind of show you bundles. So we've got these babies. And again, if you want to see these in greater detail, please see my Vlogmas episodes. I will direct you to them. These are just so beautiful. And of course, they're not going to show up super accurately on camera because nothing ever does, but it'll be pretty close, I think. This guy is my favorite. He was day one, and he is beautiful beyond description. So obviously this is a very colorful advent calendar. I don't know, are most of them? This is my first yarn advent calendar. So I don't know if they're usually like this. I don't know. I think they're all different because I've been following Kay on the Crazy Sock Lady channel. I've been following her Vlogmas, and she has four yarn advent calendars. I can't even imagine the decadence. But yeah, one of hers, or maybe one of hers I think is Blush Yarn Co. And they're mostly solids or semi-solid colorways. So they're not like highly colorful, and they're not like vibrant colors that I've been noticing for the most part. They are mostly like jewel tones or neutrals or darker kind of colors. So very pretty. But this is an exceedingly bright kit or advent calendar. And this is the Smalliday 2021 super silky. I don't know if that'll focus. yeah, from Emma's Yarn. And she has 2 patterns that are written for this, the Flora Days and the Milkweed Leaf Shawl, which I need to look up. That one's crocheted though, and I'm not a huge crocheter, but if it's beautiful enough, you know I'm making it. And then there are a couple others that she has on here that you might want to check out, she says. But those were the 2 patterns that were actually written for this kit. The Flora Days is one that I am leaning towards. And I'll kind of show, again, I don't know if it'll focus, but I'll show that to you guys too for the pattern ideas. You can buy these patterns on Ravelry. So yeah, that's the one I'm leaning towards, the Flora Days. Mostly because it was written for it, and it looks like a very like easy sort of knit, which I think would be good for this quantity of yarn. It's over 2,000 yards of fingering. It is super wash merino and silk. I think it's 80-20. So that's what I'm kind of leaning towards, but I don't know yet. I'm not sold on that. I will look at other patterns, especially if this is what I'm gonna have as my Christmas cast on. So yeah, and I think I do want to have a Christmas cast on for myself, because I think Christmas Day we might be by ourselves. It might just be me and Alex, which is perfectly fine. We spent Christmas by ourselves last year because we both had COVID. We both were tested positive for COVID like 3 days before Christmas or something. So we didn't get to see any family last year. His mom dropped our gifts and some food off on our doorstep for us. We FaceTimed with everybody for several hours on Christmas Day. So it was perfectly fine. Neither of us were sick enough that we couldn't enjoy Christmas. It was just we were just sick. It was kind of like the flu. Both of us have actually had COVID a few times. The first time for him was the worst. We've actually both had it 3 times. So the first time he had it was really awful. He was sick for 5 or 6 months. And it was bad. The second time was at Christmas, and it was kind of just, I don't know, like we had a cold. It really wasn't that bad, but we couldn't be around anyone, obviously. So we quarantined that whole time. Yeah, so Christmas Day, it was like I had a cold, and I was also very tired. So yeah, it was still good though. I watched the Nutcracker live streamed, and we made hot chocolate. We didn't really do fun food because we did not have the energy to cook. We did our gifts with each other, so it was perfectly fine. And then the third time we had COVID, it was not the worst. It was kind of like having the flu. For him, he didn't really get that sick. He just lost his sense of smell entirely, which really freaked him out. And then it was like I had the flu. So I was in bed for a few days. I just stayed in contact with my doctor. I did, I think, 2 telehealth appointments just to make sure that I wasn't getting like worse. But I kind of progressed in an okay way. I got worse for like 3 or 4 days, and then I got better over the course of like a week or 2. So not too bad. So we are pretty lucky. I say that he is still struggling with long COVID symptoms. Yeah, he's got several health problems that have come up because, anyway, I won't turn this into a whole thing about that. I'm very digression-y today because apparently I have tons of energy and I'm very chatty, especially since I haven't done a podcast in 2 weeks. We were alone last Christmas. We can be alone again this Christmas. That's fine. But I anticipate we'll probably see some family on Christmas Day. So I need to figure out what I'm costing on for Christmas Day. And I might be filming. I did talk about this before in my Vlogmas episode, I think yesterday. But in case you haven't been watching that, or if you haven't seen that episode yet, my plan is to vlog and put up a vlog every day this week, and then probably the week after Christmas as well, since that's kind of our Christmassy season and I am not going to be working as much. so I'll have more time to vlog and more brain space and energy to vlog. So I've been putting up vlogs every 2 days throughout the month so far, but I'm going to post every day, I think, for the next 2 weeks. So that'll be fun. I feel like I was going somewhere with that. Oh, with the Christmas cast on. So I'll share that with you guys when I do my Christmas cast on Christmas Day. So that'll be fun. All right, that's enough of that. Other acquisitions, I got this yarn for my dad's socks, which he is most likely not getting for Christmas. He is most likely getting, there's a little bit of a glare. Sorry about that. I don't know how to fix that other than taking these out of the bag, which I don't want to do right now because I don't want them to get separated from each other. I really want to keep this organized, but you can kind of, you get the gist of this. It's dark green, blue, some purple, and gray. There's very little green, actually. That's mostly gray. There's like tiny bits of teal. So this is a more Patton's Kroy sock. This is the Patton's Kroy Socks FX, which so far I have found to be a little softer than the Patton's Kroy sock, but I was originally really disappointed because it was more rustic feeling yarn than what I was anticipating. And I am definitely one of those people that the softer the yarn, the better. Which is one of the reasons why I love Nanette Wake Studio yarn so much, is she has the softest sock yarn. It's softer than Malabrigo sock. It is softer than Picks Stroll. It's very soft. So I was a little disappointed initially when I first did my Route 66 colorway in the Patton's Kroy socks. But a viewer told me that when you wash them, they do get softer. So that heartened me. And I did wash and block mine using a Eucalyptus lavender, and it's got the softening. I think it's got lanolin in it, and some conditioning things. It might just be lanolin. But they were significantly softer after I washed and blocked them. So, and then the FX was even softer. Well, yeah, it was even softer because I washed and blocked my sister-in-law's, and hers were Patton's Kroy FX sock yarn as well. So if that's something that you're considering when looking for quick, easy sock yarn to use, this stuff's great. It's sport weight rather than fingering weight. At least to me, this definitely feels more like a sport weight than a fingering weight. So it knits up a lot faster. It's very sturdy. It is machine washable. They say you can also put it in the dryer, but I'm brave enough to try that yet. And it does get softer as you wash it. I've noticed most of my yarn gets softer as I wash it, but this was significant. It was significantly softer after I washed it. So these are for my dad. He might not get these until his birthday, which is this winter. So, you know, these will be knit up pretty soon because he's either getting them for Christmas or for his birthday. Probably his birthday. I already got my parents a few presents each, so they're okay on presents this year. One of the things I got them, actually I won't tell you guys yet because just in case my mom watches this episode, I don't want her to know what one of her presents is. Yeah, so there's that. And then this isn't knitting related, but I'm so excited about it and I wanted to share it with you. This is, okay, I'm gonna try to crinkle this quietly. So if you, again, I've been following Vlogmas, and you saw in one of the episodes that I did the Van Gogh immersion experience, which was really cool, and I do recommend it to you if you haven't done it, and if you've been wanting to. Even if you haven't been wanting to, maybe consider doing it. I really liked it. It took an hour and a half to get through the whole thing and do the gift shop and everything. We didn't do the VIP pass, which has like a VR virtual reality experience with it too. But we might go back and do that because it looked really fun and cool. Yeah, it was really great. I loved it. And especially if you love art, it was cool. It really goes through a lot of the history of Van Gogh's life, and you know, why his art was the way that it was. And then of course, like the immersion, like the immersion room. So cool. I've got footage of that in my Vlogmas episode. I can't remember what number it is, but it's Vlogmas. It's the one where I say an adventure and a yarn shop. I think that's what the title has. I also do have I like a local yarn shop in there as well, where the city I was in at that time to do the immersion experience. While we were there, my friend wanted to go to a yarn shop, so we went, and that is also in there, and it was delightful. So I got this at the gift shop at the Van Gogh immersion experience thing. Yes, and you can tell what this is because I've got an embroidery hoop. So this is, I think, and Van Gogh is not usually one of my very favorite artists, and so I'm not as familiar with the names of his works as I am with some other classical artists, but it's the Starry Night. It is Starry Night. This is the Starry Night embroidery kit. So how cool is this? And if you're familiar with Van Gogh's art, then you know one of his signature, the characteristics of his art are these like short, abrupt strokes as he's painting, and the embroidery mimics that really well. So I'm really excited. I'm really excited about this. I think it's going to be beautiful when it's done. I haven't done much embroidery as an adult. I did quite a bit of embroidery and cross stitch when I was a kid, mostly cross stitch. But I think that this is I think going to be a wonderful, like, sort of meditative embroidery project for me, where I can kind of reflect back on and revisit my time doing the immersion experience with my friend and my husband, and I can also, reflect on Van Gogh as an artist and his life. Yeah, and kind of create my own art using his art as inspiration and kind of feel that connection with him and other, artists and just humans in general throughout the centuries. And anyway, I just think it's really cool, and I want to share that with you guys. So if you are going to the immersion experience, they've got stuff like this in the gift shop, which is so cool. Yeah, so highly recommend going to that, and also I'm very excited about that acquisition. So this is sort of an acquisition. I feel like this is about to be weird, but I got some socks yesterday. I don't know how to show them to you because they're on my feet and I've been wearing them, so they're dirty, so I don't want to take them off to show you. You've seen these. If you've watched my blog, you've already seen these. But do you see them? Do you see them? They are knitting socks. So they've got mittens and cups of tea and can you see them? I feel like you can't see the most important part. Oh, I'm just gonna take them off. This is ridiculous. Okay, so I'll just do this so you can't see the dirty bottoms. I don't know why I didn't just do this at the beginning. So you can see the ball of yarn, and it's got socks and tea and yarn baskets and mittens and snowflakes and teapots. Aren't these cute? They are from Talbots. So if you want these, I got them yesterday. So they should have them online at your local Talbots store, and they were half off. So all of their socks were half off. I think yesterday they had like a half off the entire store thing, but I don't know. I just went in there to help my dad return some stuff for my mom, and I saw their socks and I saw these and I was like, those socks have yarn on them. and they allude to knitting socks while drinking tea in the wintertime, I obviously must have them. So I paid $6 for these socks, and I do not regret that. So that's kind of an acquisition too. Yes, so I think that is all of our acquisitions for today. Kind of seems like a lot. Half of that is going to other people because of gift sock knitting, but I've got my embroidery and then my fun socks for me that I'm wearing. So what else do we have for today? I feel like, yeah, so knit chat. So one quick note about, this is like channel stuff, and it has to do with me responding to comments. I have gotten a lot of really lovely comments, and I apologize if I haven't responded to you. I did go through a period where I was just finding it, I am an introvert by nature. I'm very introverted. And so being new to YouTubing and not being super great at social media, just historically, you know, I kind of was commenting on like the first comments for a while in a video, and then a week or two would go by and I'd stop commenting to those. But, you know, I kind of feel bad because some people put like really lovely comments on the videos, but I was having trouble with figuring out, you know, how do I figure out what comments to respond to? Like I was going through my videos like every day to go through the comments like individually, and it was turning into like kind of a stressful process. So long story short, I have found a way to look at people's comments more quickly and efficiently, and comment to them more quickly and efficiently as well. So I'm going back through, I think that I'm caught up. I feel like all my recent comments I've responded to, but I'm trying to go back and respond to older comments as well, because they really mean a lot to me, and I'm primarily doing this to like connect with people and hopefully be helpful too, but you know, really to connect with people. So sorry if I haven't gotten to comment on your comments or reply to your comments. I am working on doing that, and I have found a much better way to do it now that doesn't stress me out. So your comments don't stress me out whatsoever. I love them. I really appreciate them, and they make me really happy. So please don't feel deterred in commenting. But this trying to figure out the system of YouTube and a good way to like go back and see if there are new comments on old videos and, you know, stuff like that. That was the part that was a little struggle for me at the beginning, but I think I have figured out a good system for that. So please feel free to leave comments and I'll be responding to them hopefully more quickly and more consistently now. But I do really appreciate them. My second thing for our knit chat for today, you guys, if you are a returning viewer, then you probably remember that I have been wanting to do a make-along. I think that time is coming. So I was thinking that winter time is a really hard time for a lot of people. Less vitamin D, less sunlight, less being able to be outside comfortably for a lot of people, all sorts of things. So there's social isolation going on, there's, you know, lack of being out in the nature, there's lots of stuff that makes the winter time a hard time for a lot of people. So I thought that made it a great time for a make-along, and I would like to start this. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this, but my thought is for us to start in January. I don't think it'll be January 1st because people are still recovering from like New Year's Eve and Christmas and all that kind of stuff. So maybe the second week of January. I'll let you guys know a solid start date. But I want to do a Hygge Make-Along. So if you are not familiar with Hygge, I pulled up a definition. so that I wouldn't just be stumbling through like a long explanation like I tend to do because I'm very wordy. So this is the definition of hygge according to, I guess, Google definition, Google Dictionary. Oh, this is from the Oxford, whatever. This is the definition of hygge. This is a standard definition of hygge. There might be other definitions as well, but it is the quality of coziness and comfortable conviviality. It's not a usual word that we use. Coziness and comfort that engenders a feeling of contentment or well-being. It is regarded as a defining characteristic of Danish culture. So you guys may have seen this on Pinterest, on the internet, and various places, or like out in businesses or things. I know my business has done hygge events in the past. So yeah, what it is you are taking the Danish will do this in a variety of ways. I think hygge is kind of just an integral part of their culture, and so this is not isolated to the winter months, but I think that it is a very useful thing for the winter when there's a lot of cold, dark, kind of isolated, maybe sad or lonely kind of times during that season. So hygge is bringing in a lot of light, coziness, warmth, and often community and connection. So hygge is, I think, wonderful, like a wonderful remedy in a lot of ways for the winter blues. So my idea for our make-along is starting in January and going through maybe the spring equinox in March. So going through the winter months, doing a make-along, and this could be knitting or crochet or embroidery or scrapbooking. I'm not going to put any constraints on you guys. But I would say you can make anything that you want, especially as this is my first make-along. I don't really want to put a bunch of rules on this because that seems like kind of unnecessary. Also, if we're going for hygge, like, I'm trying to inspire happiness, so I'm not going to put constraints on you guys that might add stress. But my idea would be, if you could, or if you like this idea, I would encourage you to maybe do a project that embodies that sense of like warmth and coziness, whether that is something that's bright and colorful, or maybe it's extra warm and cozy, like a very cozy sweater or blanket, anything like that. It could be like community stuff, so maybe it's gift knitting, or I don't really care. Anything that kind of embodies hygge for you. And we will have a project, or we'll have a group page up on Ravelry for the make-along. I'll probably have segments in the podcast episodes to keep you guys updated. I might do like a little separate video series maybe for hygge, maybe with some meditations to go along with it, or just a description, like what would it be? Sort of like an announcement, I guess, on like, this is our make-along and this is the start day, and these are the, not rules, but these are kind of like the invitations with it, or whatever. So this is kind of the idea that I have right now. I'm going to make this more solid and maybe do an actual announcement for it in the next week or two. So if you guys want to go ahead and get project ideas together for that, or if you have any suggestions or ideas for me as I am considering it and putting it together for us, please feel free to let me know in the comments or on Instagram or Ravelry, or my email is also on the description of the channel. Yeah, what do you guys think? You guys want to do a hygge make-along with me? I'm really excited. Also, I would love to do giveaway prizes for the make-along as well. So this is a kind of call for, I guess, donations for that. If anybody wants to do to send something in to the channel, you know, you can comment or you can email me, and we can figure out a way to be able to send any prize donations that anybody wants to give to the channel for our Hygge Make-Along. But yeah, I would love to do that. I think I would love to do at least a giveaway of just, I don't know, maybe some like knitting bits that I've got. I can put together like a package, or maybe like 2 small packages, perhaps. Yeah, I think I could do that. But I would really love it if anybody does want to do any kind of donations for that. I think that would be a great way to represent your business, and then also to be part of the fun. So that's my really big sort of, I guess, announcement or idea for today. I want to do a Hygge Make-Along, and I think that we can have all sorts of fun with this. So the preliminary ideas I'm throwing out to you guys, and I'll solidify that over the next week or 2 for you. So that is that for our knit chat for today. Now for our mindfulness segment. So if you've got your skein of yarn, go ahead and grab that. Or you can just listen for now and come back to this later. I think I'm gonna just grab this guy. And you can always do this later. I am trying to compile all these like meditation or mindfulness practices from these videos and put them on a separate playlist for you guys, so it's easier to come back to them later and practice them. So I'll do that with this one as well. But yeah, so got your skein of yarn. This is going to be this is kind of a classic mindfulness practice. It's mindfulness of an object, and today our object is a skein of yarn. So we'll just spend a few minutes doing this. You can take longer or shorter to do this on your own if you would like, but I'll just kind of guide you through the basic stuff and do it along with you. So taking your object into your hands, I would invite you to first just hold it in your open hands and notice what you feel. Firstly, notice where the surface of your yarn meets your hand, maybe the palm of your hand, maybe your fingers. Just notice that meeting place of skin and yarn. Maybe heft it a little bit to notice the weight of the yarn. Notice the weight with the movement, how the yarn maybe feels different in your hand when you move your hands versus when it is perfectly still. And maybe more intentionally feel your yarn, maybe with some more intentional movements. So maybe you squish your yarn, really noticing how each of the strands of the yarn move underneath your fingers, how you can feel the individual bumps of each strand against your fingers, against your palms. Noticing the squish, the fluffiness of the yarn. And I would invite you to, as you are doing this practice, to maybe take every once in a while an intentional deep breath, just in and out gently. And maybe you pet your yarn. How does it feel different when you run your hands along the fibers versus squishing them? Maybe it's a subtle difference. Maybe for your skein of yarn, there's quite a bit of textural difference in running your hands along it versus that squishing motion or sensation. And then using your sense of sight primarily here, notice your yarn, again, bringing it into stillness. looking and just gazing upon it, noticing the shape and the color, and trying to look at it kind of with a beginner's mind or a beginner's eye, as if you've never seen this object before in your life and you are just looking at it, almost as if you don't know what it is. You are just looking at it for what it is, which is a shape, a color, noticing the different colors perhaps. If it's a solid skein, maybe you can see how the light reflects off of it in different areas. Or maybe there is shadow in some places. Maybe you begin to move it around a little bit and you notice how the light hits it or reflects off of it in different places, highlighting and shadowing different strands, different colors, different shapes. Maybe turning it over in your hands. And again, maybe squishing it or creating some sort of movement and listening to the sound of the yarn. Listening to the sound of your hands against the fibers. Listening to the sound of the fibers moving against each other. Maybe using a different sensory experience and bringing your skein, if you'd like, to your face. Feeling the fiber against the skin of your face, maybe the skin of your neck. And noticing again any differences between what that feels like when that fiber comes in contact with the sensitive skin of the face and the neck versus the skin of the palms of the hand. And maybe even taking your skein to the back of your hand and noticing the difference between the palm and the back of the hand. And lastly, our sense of smell for observing our object mindfully. So this may be something you do often, or maybe you've never done it before, but smelling your skein of yarn or your ball of yarn. And just noticing. Maybe even practicing one or two very long, deep, gentle, slow breaths with your inhale and your exhale. And anything else you feel like you are needing to do to observe your object, your skein, mindfully. Anything else that feels undone, that you feel like you need to do to mindfully connect with this object. And as we finish this practice, I would invite you maybe just to take a slow, deep breath, kind of clearing out the lungs, maybe maybe a cleansing breath. If you want to set your object down, feel free. If you need to stretch it all, if you need to blink your eyes hard and kind of come back to the present with me now. That was our practice for today. So I'm curious what that was like for you guys to do. Yeah, maybe just spending a moment to sit with yourself after doing that too. You can pause the video if you need. But yes, I will post that as a separate video on the playlist for mindfulness practices. I know that was not really a seasonally themed one, but I really wanted to do that one because I think some non-themed, I guess, mindfulness practices can be good this time of year, because I know I've mentioned this before, this time of year is often hard for a lot of people. The holidays are not very easy for a lot of people for various reasons. And so doing a mindfulness practice that's seasonally themed every single time, I don't know if that's very helpful to everybody. It's perfectly fine for a lot of people, but I kind of wanted to stay very generic one for today to share with you guys, especially since next week or this week is Christmas week, and it might be very stressful for a lot of people. So maybe if you guys can practice this mindfulness of an object practice once or twice over the next week. If you want to do it 4 times a day, feel free. You can do it with any object. A glass of water is a wonderful one to do this with. I love, especially if it is glass and not plastic, and it's clear. I love doing that with this one because there is something about the way that light is reflected off water. Most people's brains really like that, and that can be very tranquil. You can do this with plants, like potted plants are great. You can do this with all sorts of things. So, yeah. So that is our mindfulness practice for today. I hope that you enjoyed that or it was helpful to you. So last thing for today is our Q&A. I don't really have any questions to answer. I usually don't. I guess people aren't super curious about, I don't know, what's going on, which is fine. But I have, I guess, a couple of questions for you guys. One is just what are you knitting right now? Like, I'm always kind of curious about that, but especially during times like this in the year when we're very busy or there's a lot of stuff going on, like holidays. I'm curious, are you doing holiday knitting? Are you doing knitting for you? Are you doing knitting for this summer? What are you knitting right now? Or crocheting or making? And then my other question had to do with my year in review video that I'm gonna do in a couple of weeks. I might do that next week, right before New Year's. Yeah, because I think I'll actually have some time too, so that it might be a really good time to do that video. So I'm gonna do a year in review video, and I'm just curious if there's anything you guys would like for me to add to that video or make sure I include, because I'm happy to add in any kind of interesting components you guys would like to have. So year in review would be like projects that I've done this year, experiences I've had kind of like reflections over the last year with my knitting or my crafting. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that out to you guys. Do you have anything you would like for me to include in my year in review video? And then I'm also curious if you guys do year in reviews for yourselves, whether it's on Ravelry or a knitting journal or a crafting journal or, you know, anything. Yeah, I'm curious what you guys do for at the end of the year in regards to your hobbies, if anything. Do you guys do any like tradition things, like you want to start the new year with clean needles? Like nothing, like you finish all your projects by the end of the year? Like, I don't know. What kind of stuff do you do? I guess I'm not going to be doing that because I'm doing a Christmas cast on. So I'll probably be going into the new year with works in progress, but that's fine with me. I don't need to start the new year with clean needles because I clear out my needles pretty regularly because I only have 1 to 3 projects at any given time. So, yeah. So yeah, those are my questions for you guys today or this week. What do you have going on knitting wise, crafting wise, and do you have anything you want me to include in my year in review video? So I guess I'll end it here for tonight. I hope that you guys are having a wonderful season, that you're not too stressed, and that you're taking care of yourselves during this season. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Bye.